Oracle quarterly earnings. And reminder, we're industry analysts, not equity analysts. We use earnings as a source of truth, and don't take any of this information as an investment advice. If you follow me, you're probably going to lose a lot of money. So Matt, what's going on here? Is OCI chugging? Looks like they're chugging.
They're chugging just like Intel was. So it feels like I have to have Oracle in every single podcast I'm a part of, and I apologize, but these guys just don't stop moving. I mean, it's pretty incredible how, they're so consistently churning out one thing after another. So yeah, earnings, overall, I think they're up 5% year over year, or something along those lines. Cloud business in general was up, I think, 24% year over year. That includes SaaS, IaaS. But when you look at their infrastructure as a service business, which to me is really the real kind of indicator of how Oracle Cloud infrastructure is doing, 52% growth year over year. 52%. That is absolutely crazy. So for those, and I'm one of the people that talk about Oracle kind of establishing its cloud business through data, because it's a database company, and they've got a lot of stickiness, which is true. 52% growth is more than just databases being migrated from on-prem to off-prem, right? That's significant growth. In addition to that, they've opened up a couple new regions, one in Bogota, one down in Chile. I don't know where. They're getting ready to open up some more regions in Southeast Asia. I just, I feel like I have to just draw attention to the fact that this company is, from a growth perspective, a cloud growth perspective, is absolutely, that transformation is on display. And I'm kind of curious as to when they're going to be part of the discussion, whenever we talk about the big five, the big cloud folks, when Oracle is finally going to be allowed into that club. Because while their revenues aren't there yet, their growth certainly is, and the moves they're making set them up to be, and I think give them enough credibility to be a part of the conversation.
Yeah, their percentage growth is amazing, and the value proposition that they're offering to customers, and customers picking that up, is undisputable at this point. And yeah, I think people are looking in terms of threes, and right now it's AWS, Azure, and Google Cloud. And it also depends on how you slice it. Mm-hmm. IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS, right? Yep. I think right now we're looking at IaaS. Companies like Gartner smash IaaS and PaaS together. Mm-hmm. So I think when they hit that revenue number, and they will get a lot more of the respect they deserve. But let's not forget, OCI 1 was not good. OCI 2 was a grounds-up architecture, bare metal as its base, and then you can do anything. If it's bare metal, you want to put VMs on it, you want to do containers, you want to do serverless, go for it. And they also put their applications, because some people forget this, but Fusion and NetSuite is some of the largest SaaS software that you can have. That's right. I want to give OCI a plug for the simplest version of hybrid infrastructure. They literally they copy the infrastructure that they have in the public cloud, and they literally deposit it, and they put a chain link fence around it, and they manage it, and you can run any Oracle application on that. And Matt, I hit it on the 6.5 pod this morning, but check out what Google announced. It's right in your wheelhouse with distributed cloud, mm-hmm. Which they added 6 new ways you can do on-prem infrastructure. Huh. They don't call it Anthos anymore. It's called Google Distributed Cloud. But it looks pretty compelling. And, the 25% of the data is still on-prem. And the IaaS and PaaS service is slowing as a percent. It's like, and I look at the ARR increase from GreenLake and stuff like TrueScale and Apex. It's like interesting.
Yeah,
that's something. You add colos on top of that, and listen, the business model isn't giving anybody 30 points of OMP Inc. like AWS. You take out stock-based compensation, but for these on-prem folks and people who operate, they'd rather have some cash than none.
Yeah.
And now that we've kind of arrived at as containers as being the vehicle for future applications, and even containerizing a VM, if you want to do kind of lift and shift, it's game and yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, Pat, about the data, because even when you think about, like, if I'm a large enterprise, right, and I've got a huge data warehouse and a huge Oracle presence, or DB2 or SQL Server, really, insert database name here, right? Why would I want to move that up into the cloud, right? This is where, like, the Google, the cloud, Oracle Cloud at customer, or distributed computing from Google, or Outpost. This is where I think these become really interesting value props, right? Because I want to look, as a database administrator or a CIO, I want to offload all of that tedious work I do around managing my data environment, but I don't want it up in the cloud, right? This is a perfect compromise for me, from a cost and kind of agility perspective. And by the way, for Oracle, it begins that kind of migration to the cloud. So I think there's a lot of interesting kind of play in what they're doing. I think over time you're going to find these enterprise organizations find more and more value in these kind of distributed cloud models, even though they didn't take off yet, or they didn't take off in the past. I think their time is coming. So anyway, my 2 cents.
Oh, it is, and by the way, like in any growing market, it's going to be both, right?
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
And AWS has hybrid on-prem. They just don't like to talk about it a lot. They have a lot of very compelling things in between that they do, like AWS local zones. So, for instance, they're a Hollywood movie maker. They built a data center right in Hollywood, a small one. It's not a hyperscaler data center, but it improves latency and egress charges. I'm sure they're doing a deal with them, because sending up video into these massive things and then getting it out could be really expensive under the current terms. AWS also has a special offering with carriers where they'll put their infrastructure on the edge. I think it's called wavelength, or they'll stick them. It's interesting. I heard some of the carriers over the years talking about, we're putting AWS infrastructure into the core. It's not in the core. It's actually on the edge of the core. And I think it only makes a difference between, it makes a difference just to me from potentially a latency point of view. But interesting stuff. The hybrid multi-cloud is alive and well. 10 years ago, I called it. I got the transport wrong with OpenStack. It wasn't OpenStack. It ended up being containers. The problem with OpenStack is it wasn't necessarily open, and it wasn't in a complete stack, and revisions came out twice a year. I hit the macro picture. I missed the delivery vehicle.